Hello everyone. I'm here to do a check-in and energy update to share my experience with the collective. Since, like you all, when I hear these collective stories and energy updates, I immediately go, oh, it wasn't just me. Everyone else was tuned in to the same energy wave, and we all dealt with that similarly or had similar ups and downs and beats in our own lives. You all know what I'm talking about. So I thought it might be helpful if I just straight up started talking about the energy that I've been experiencing and also give you a bit of an update on what's going on in my life. Also an opportunity to say thank you so much for all of your support. It's been just miracle after miracle again and again and again, and I don't know how to thank you all, but to continue to be in loving sacred service and to do my best to keep my heart open always, as you all do too. Thank you. And then I thought I might tune in and do an energy update for the collective, for the planet, see what's going on. I thought I would be a really good person to do this update because I'm actually really out of the loop lately. I haven't been checking in to the astrology updates. I am an astrologer, and right now I can barely tell you what sign the sun is in. And I know it's Virgo because I'm thinking about it now, but I didn't know that. I wasn't planning out Virgo season or anything like that. Don't know where the moon is right now. I don't know what's going on with the galactic updates. Not sure what the angels or Arcturians are saying. I'm really out of the loop. I don't even read or watch the news these days anymore, so I'm completely ignorant to the outside world for this period of time. So therefore I thought tuning in, getting a read on what's going on, hearing what the angels want to say, or anybody else who comes through could be really, really useful for all of us. So I'm not feeling very tainted by anyone else's point of view right now. And it is super fun when channels all get to tune in to the same currents, or maybe something else will come through a different tone or a lens. Let's find out. I think it's also super perfect that I'm in a different spot in the home today to record this. And I'm in front of these white curtains that I love. But an image that's been coming to me in meditation a lot is an experience of being in this expanse of white light. And then you get to feel yourself dissolve in the light and really feel and embody as best as you can in those deep meditative states, that experience of being the light, of the light being all that there is. So I really feel like I'm coming and broadcasting that energy that's been coming through me, through meditations, through this video in a way. It feels very supportive, very loving, unconditionally loving. It feels angelic, and it feels like the force of creative potential. I recently had a meditation experience where an angel was showing me in this expanse of light that anything can be made in this space, and it was just making different things appear out of the light. And one of those things was a baby, and I kind of stopped and said, does that mean that you make souls or you make beings or consciousness? And the angel said, no, souls only create themselves. They make their own conscious decision to be born, and in making that decision, that's their first act of separation because they're thinking something separate. So it's like almost instantaneous creation, a moment of will to be born. It's a bit of a paradox, but that's how souls choose to be born, and then they choose to incarnate into something to bring it a degree of self-awareness or consciousness. But everything in the universe is alive. Everything is the one soul or source of all it is. But angels don't create souls. I don't think anything creates a soul but itself based on that. So anyway, just a little, facts, fun tidbits from the other side. Is it boring to share that kind of information? Is it like getting a postcard from Italy and you're like, well, I've never been to Italy and I want to see your travel shows. I want to go to Italy. Is it kind of like that, hearing other people's travel tales? So actually, a lot of people do enjoy hearing other people's travel tales. I do actually, so who knows? Anyway, let's continue on. All right, energetic updates. Generally, there's been a feeling of waiting, I think, for myself and others in the collective. In fact, most of the readings I've been doing lately have all been about waiting. Like, you've been activated, yay! There's a period of waiting right now. Or your mission was going so smoothly and growing, and then crickets. You know, the crickets, are you getting crickets and grasshoppers showing up as signs for you? Because then this is definitely a message for you. Okay, so this period of waiting going on, and we've all been feeling this, I think, particularly around the idea of the manifestations coming in, right? Or the mission becoming clearer, or, you know, bringing the 5D offering service into a 3D economy and trying to work that out, or working out if we even need to meet these new economies. You know, there's been a lot of questions thrown up in the air with not a lot of desire to leap. I mean, I think we've all leaped as much as we can right now. We're all on the edge of the cliff, or we're already at the bottom of the cliff, and there's a bit of a feeling of, okay, we're still in alignment, everything's still good. The outside world is in a strange limbo situation. Wasn't expecting that, okay. And it's just this kind of waiting room. Very comfortable waiting room, but a waiting room. And because we don't know how long it's lasting exactly, and my angels are saying, you do know, so okay, we'll listen more closely to that in a sec. But because we want a sense of control, because we want to be able to plot things out on a timeline, we start get jittery. We think that if we have a little tantrum, we'll force something into being. If we ask enough questions, or the right questions, or, you know, look at the patterns or the numerology or the astrology or whatever, we'll be able to get a clear idea of what's going to happen and where we're going. But again, that's just looking to outside sources, because we all know in here that the only thing that's true is the present moment, right? So we're all being asked in this chapter to just keep trusting, stay in the present. I keep hearing your faith has got to be greater than your fear. That Julian Casablancas song. And then what's coming up out of this has been, not even out of this, almost prompted just after this. But what's being prompted now is this more like shadow work period that people have been pushed into. I'm not sure for everybody else if it's necessarily been triggered by something, or if it can be something rising up from within us just to be dealt with. For me, it came out of hearing that we need to move house in 2 months. So all of my inner child wounds of, can't I just, you know, effing stay somewhere, like for once, you know, just craving that stability. Like all of that inner child kind of, you know, not tantruming, but just that kind of self-pitying stuff came up for me. So yeah, my all of my tactics of, you know, grounding became really important. You know, I let myself feel it, I communicated it. You know, luckily I've got a really supportive environment to do that in, and luckily I do have a lot of faith and practice in this area. This next move will be the 42nd time that I've moved house in my life. So yeah, I added that up for my thesis because I thought it would make a case for how well I knew the Gold Coast from so many different angles. But even in my adult life later on, continued that trajectory of moving house often. It's something I'm healing, and I know I'm calling in somewhere really stable. I know there's a potential for me to be a caretaker somewhere with my family. I definitely feel very connected to the land. I've been meditating with the land, healing with the work, you know, allowing Gaia to heal through me and vice versa. And just really trying to pay my respect to all the mother archetypes in my life and in the universe too. You know, how do we honor Gaia without being able to unconditionally love our own mothers? You know, there's a lot of interconnected layers to this work. But yeah, I'm really feeling that stability. I'm feeling that healed root chakra, and I know that these changes are an upgrade for me. But nevertheless, there's been a lot of shadow work and inner child tantruming happening. So if you've been going through that too, we're probably just energetically due for a bit of a like a bit of a childish, frustrated cry, and then, okay, let's continue on. And really, it's just a flex for the nervous system. Sometimes we want to have a good stretch. So I hope you've all had a good stretch. And if you're still holding it in, I highly recommend you go scream somewhere. I feel like I almost started glowing when I said that. The angels want you to go scream somewhere. Okay. All right. And feeling into any energy update news for the collective. Where are we? Where have we been? Where are we now? Where are we going? Calling in vibrations of light and love and higher. May any messages that come through be ultimately healing for the collective. May we be sovereign, protected, peaceful, and feel the depths of our own unconditional love at all times. Thank you. Okay, I'm feeling a lot of energy coming in. Sorry, honey, just tuning in a bit. Okay, there's so much energy coming in, so I'm going to be a little bit more specific. Do any beings of an angelic frequency occupied with the Earth's liberation have an update for us on the energy of Earth at this time? Okay, I'm feeling an angelic energy coming through. The visuals I'm getting in my mind's eye, to be honest, look a little bit like a My Little Pony. It's like a flash of blue with a flash of like wing with a flash of rainbow. I know that this is the way that an image is being transmitted to represent an energy, or the way that my mind is interpreting the energy as best as I can. It feels very childlike, it feels very playful, it feels quick. It feels like water. It's directing me to landscapes, particularly forests and mountainscapes over the earth. So it could be an angel connected with those kind of natural plains. Canada, Colorado, Tibet, the Blue Mountains, even sequoia and redwood forests, mangroves I'm hearing. I'm hearing Sephora, Seraphina, Sophia. It's like almost like a flute whisper sound. It's the way this angel sounds. She says, the lands are healing. The rivers are healing. The bees are returning. The spirits are returning. The butterflies are returning. These great animal, insect, fungi, and coral spirits, they were not grounded on this planet. Their spirits were mostly in the ethereal planes. and they were prepared to let go of Gaia, should Gaia give her final word. But Gaia is renewed in her strength. There has been turning point after turning point that began long before the good news in the news. When you chose to be born here, and you chose to see yourselves not as above the land, but with it, you began a healing journey that would correct some ruinous effects already in motion from previous energies. This turning point for the planet was always destined because you cared, but it required more than action in the 3D. You needed to be able to role model these beliefs in our connectedness, in our ecology, and in our oneness in your own lives too. Can you forgive? Can you trust? Can you love? Can you be generous and receive in equal measure? These are core principles of a sustainable paradise. And without harmony, there is entropy. Paradise is always the goal. Kelly, you're correct. And that you are already living in heaven. But the game that you're playing now is one that has required the new earth on the underside of this holograph to be flipped over. This is well on the way as Gaia regrows and replenishes her energies. What is now occurring is a transition between worlds where you are being asked to embody new economies, new families, new ways of loving and expressing yourselves, whether it's new to the entire world or just new to you. Anchor in to your understanding that the codes to unlocking the new earth lie within your own soul. The gold and white light braided within you. It is unleashed when you choose creativity, when you choose flow, when you choose ease and forgiveness and gratitude and color and fertility and richness. Continue to choose these more sacred forms of expression, whether through tears or laughter, screams or chanting. You are welcome in this new world as long as you embody those characteristics. But the new world is not exclusionary. There is room for at least some of your baggage here. Perfection was never the goal. Self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-love were the goal. Welcome here, and thank you. I suppose that was more of a prayer or a promise that an update, but I did feel the beats there. I feel the transition phases, and I wish I could broadcast what I'm seeing at the same time as I'm speaking. But at that point, I was seeing this band like a timeline broken into 3 different beigey shades. And we're in this middle one now, and it looks more peaceful, internally peaceful, because we've reached a state of inner peace. But the external world is grittier, so the contrast between the internal and the external may be turned up a little bit. But the good news is you won't notice the grit so much because of that state of inner peace. And we're moving into this transitory phase now where this new earth needs to be built, and we need to cycle through some of these different function and ways we can be in then. So if you're being called to experiment in your life somewhere, or to try something new or a new model, if you're seeing 111 and 1111 a lot, then this was a message for you. Thank you all for your love and support. Hope this has been useful. Thank you.